Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we figure out how to build and run a SaaS. I'm Benedikt.
And I'm Brian. Each week we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we work on our products and keep the lights on with consulting. Today is January 8th, and I am feeling calm.
This is episode number 23, and I'm feeling relaxed.
Hooray.
Yay.
Amazing what
holidays worked, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, amazing what a little bit of time off and self-reflection will do, huh?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, everybody.
We're finally back. Did you miss recording?
I a little bit missed I missed the routine of it, and just the regular, the check-in. It was good to take a couple of weeks off, but it does remind me how much I like the just scheduled interaction, scheduled like forcing function of thinking through. Yeah. Okay, what did I do this week, and what did I learn from that? What do I want to do differently next week? It's just like a kind of verbal journaling. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that as well. But yeah, to be honest, looking back at like Christmas and New Year, there wouldn't have been much updates from my side. I think it was a good call to just like take a break.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Likewise. I mean, we loaded all of our stuff into wife and 3 kids and a ton of Christmas stuff, and drove to 13, 14 hours to Texas and back. So I probably could have found a place to put in my podcasting gear. But it was nice that I didn't need to.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Well, what updates have you got? Can I ask that when we left off, I was, pushing you to do the year compass, and you were politely and maybe a little begrudgingly agreeing to take me up on it. Is that fair?
I don't know. Like at first, it was like a little bit intimidating. Because it's like it's a lot of questions. But like I can show you in the camera.
Yeah,
like, I did print it out. Woo-hoo. And it also. I know in the last episode I said I sit down for an hour or so and just like answer the questions real quick. It took way longer than that.
Yeah.
I think it was the week after Christmas, or the couple of days after Christmas, where I sat down, went to the office and did nothing but sit down and think about this stuff. And to be honest, I haven't managed to answer all the questions.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of blank spots in there because I just had no idea like what to write. And even after thinking long about it, I couldn't answer all of them, but still it was a helpful exercise to just reflect and remind myself about all the things that happened in the last year.
Totally. I'm just kind of curious, what are some of the blanks? What are the ones that you're having the hardest time answering?
Like one is the wisest decision I made.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of this maybe gets easier when you do it the second and the third time, because you kind of can think about it throughout the entire year.
Yeah,
maybe
as you're going along.
Be more deliberate about like when you make big decisions, to actually think about them. Is this a wise decision or not? Like, because so far that's nothing I ever considered.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
also.
Yeah. Anything else?
Like, what are some other blanks? The letting go section. I wrote nothing in there.
Yeah, that's a good one. The prompt there is, and this is like reflecting on the previous year. Is there anything else you need to say? Is there anything you need to let go of before you can start your next year? And then there's like a big open space, draw or write, and then think about it and let it all go. On this one, I actually wrote. It makes sense for this audience, I want to let go of my impatience with consulting. I get to work for myself. I don't have to. I get to work for myself. It's a hard thing to do, and I'm doing it. Have done it relatively successfully for, several years now. So I should stop resenting it and just live into it a little bit more and enjoy the process. That's something that came up for me a whole lot throughout it, is just chill out and slow down and enjoy the process a little bit more. So that was one that I was able to fill out.
I really enjoyed your one of your recent newsletters had this email about just that, like just enjoying the hard times a little bit.
The one about the whale watching boat trip with my kids.
The one about the
family.
Boat trip. Yeah. And totally. That was a nice one. Actually, all your recent newsletters are quite interesting and good.
Thanks, man.
I enjoy reading them.
What else? What else from that?
What else I left blank? Or
just what else stuck out to you? Like, what was helpful about it?
I feel like let me think. What was helpful? I think the planning for the new year, I'm not entirely sure how much the compass actually influenced that and how much I had already kind of in my mind before that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mostly wrote down things that I have been thinking about for quite a while.
Are you talking about the page this is what my next year will be about? And then the 10 sections? Personal life.
Yeah, that
work,
one.
Hobbies,
that one. Yeah, basically, I have a feel like that's the first question is the dare to dream big, and then it asks you to just like write down everything you think you will do in the next year.
Yeah.
And I feel like I wrote down a lot of stuff there and then more or less repeated everything in the next fields.
Yeah.
So I might be doing this wrong, but it was like the only way that made sense in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, that is one of the sections that I still have blank for this year. Just because I feel like I would have immediately started filling it out, like dare to dream big. What's the next year ahead of you look like? I feel like before doing all of the other bits of it, I would have put something about, something to do with MRR and, software over consulting in terms of like the professional side of things. And I'm not sure that that's how I wanted to be thinking about, dreaming for the year ahead right now. And so I left that empty. One thing that was kind of cool, Benedikt, is, whenever I do mine, I always go back on the like previous ones. And one of the things I wrote on last year, dare to dream big, what's the year ahead of you look like? One of the things I put was finding traction for my own podcast. So thanks, man.
Yeah. I think that worked.
We were part of that together. Let me see.
So yeah, I think like this will also become valuable over time. Like I think you tell me from your experience, but I have a feeling that it will get easier like once you do it a couple times.
Yeah. Yep.
Because like you're used to the questions and maybe even start thinking about all of the stuff throughout the year.
Yep.
And also then having a way to just like look back at previous years and like, what did I plan for this year and what of it did I actually achieve and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I think that will be interesting.
Yeah. And in some ways I feel like it's gotten easier because there some themes develop under particular questions and that sort of thing. Plus what I was, going to suggest is it's better to at least have something written down so that when you come back to it next year, you have something to reflect on. And so if you're stuck on, this was the prompt of the wisest decision I made this year was ... to just reframe it. One wise decision I made this year was, and so that you don't feel like this, like, oh, what was it? Gosh, I have no idea. So that was one. The other thing is that I have a group of 7 other people that once a month we meet up somewhere and bring this booklet with us and talk about like, hey, how's this showing up for you? And are you learning anything? And, share our,
what,
share that.
like what if you feel comfortable sharing it, what did you write for the question, the prompt of these 3 things I will do every morning?
These 3 things.
I was tempted to put in something like, wake up, get dressed, maybe shower.
Yeah.
I was like, is this the purpose of this question?
I put stretch, smile, and drink water.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are 3 very simple things that are much better than, all right, Brian, be honest with yourself. What are the 3 things that you usually do? I check my phone. I don't do any sort of, I don't wake my body up in any way. I don't meditate. I don't do yoga. I don't stretch. 90% of the time. And I probably have coffee before I have water. So 3 extremely easy things that I can do are stretch, smile, like start my day off with some gratitude, and drink water. So those are mine.
Yeah, one of those prompts that are blank for me right now. But okay. Maybe I was too ambitious with like, sometimes I feel like, I couldn't think of anything that wasn't as boring as like getting up, getting dressed.
Right, exactly.
But maybe I set the bar
socks
way too higher. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think that's how what did I put? I've got last year's in front of me. Also, so the things I put last year, I put drink water, avoid my phone, and meditate. So, meditate, like, frankly, like that's a little too vague. And like, for how long, and like what? And instead, like, smile is getting exactly at why would I want to tell myself to start my day off with meditation? Well, because it's a better way of starting off than anxiety. Like, what am I going to do today? What do I have to do? What do I have coming up? Instead, just smile and you'll feel better.
Yeah.
Can I ask you if you have that page up? These are the 3 things I will make my surroundings cozy with.
Oh yeah, that's also one I left blank. I have no idea. Like, it's so hard to come up with new things. Like, I don't know, like have heating in my home, maybe have a blanket in my bed, have a nice pillow. But those things are already in place. Like, what should I change there? It was kind of hard.
So mine, I put coffee, books, and hot baths. I really like disproportionately enjoy a hot bath. I don't like if I've got a choice of, bath over a shower, like, any day, and so, like, kind of the luxury of, I'm going to take 45 minutes here and just be completely indulgent and, like, not, do the dishes or whatever. Like, that sort of thing of every now and then I'm going to treat myself with something simple like this. And then on the coffee side of things, like, that just means buying nice beans instead of, bulk whatever at Costco. So that's kind of how, again, like, trying to think through that. But you mentioned pillow. Like, would it feel like a treat to get yourself, like, a luxurious 5-star hotel pillow? I mean, I think that's something to think about. Just
maybe, but like, I have nothing. Like, my pillow is fine. I like my pillow. It's there's nothing I can improve there. So
well,
see, that's the part. Like, with some of those prompts, I had a feeling I have to write down something that is a change from how things are now. But then again, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything in terms of coziness or something like that. So it was kind of hard.
Well, then maybe it's, the part of it is to reflect on what you've already, like, what is it that you like about your environment, your surroundings?
Yeah.
That's already cozy, and, elevate those things and appreciate them more often, maybe, rather than feeling like you have to find something new or different.
Yeah, maybe I should take another hour or so, or two or three tomorrow to
give it another pass. Maybe I mean, I
give it another pass, and
yeah.
How many sessions do you do this in one sitting? Like fill out everything?
Usually 2, because I usually will do the look back in one sitting, and then the year ahead in another, and then and there are a few that are, usually still empty even after that I'll just fill in, on a month to month as something comes up. Like there's one that's with these 3 presents, I will reward my success. And I mean, that's another thing that made me just feel a little bit grateful. There's not a single thing, like an object or a present that I even want right now. And that's a pretty good feeling. And so I just didn't write anything down. I don't know what it would be. Maybe a monthly subscription to Audible. That's that is a present that I've not splurged on that I think I would really like. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I kind of like this question because I think it's important to celebrate successes or big events. And sometimes it's hard to come up with an idea of how to reward yourself in that very moment. So planning ahead is, I kind of like it. Here are some things that are totally useless, but kind of nice. So if you need something to celebrate, maybe get yourself whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. By the way, one thing I just noticed, there's one of the last prompts for the past year is, a book was made about your past year. Write down its title. My book is titled Slow and Steady.
Awesome. That is great. That's perfect, man.
Yeah, I think it made perfect sense. So it's not just not just the title of the podcast, but also about the title of the book about my year.
It's a good theme for the year. Mine is related. The book of my past year is titled Escalante, Climbing Down and Out of Canyons Large and Small. So Escalante, I think roughly that escalar is to climb. I think Escalante might be stairs. Somebody can correct me on that, or staircase, something like that. And the Escalante route was the trail that we spent the majority of that week in the Grand Canyon on. And so it was ooh, perfect. So it's symbolic of the entire year and literal where it needs to be. I like yours as well, man. Slow and steady. I think it
just was a fitting title.
For sure. So final question on this, and then we can maybe hop over to other startup related updates. But did you land on a word for your year ahead? Did you do that part yet?
Yes. My word for the year is growth. Yeah, I guess that's what it's going to be about, personal in terms of doing things that I've never tried before, but also for Userlist, the thing we have to do is grow this thing. There's no way around that. It cannot stay as small as it is today, so it has to grow. So I think that's the topic for the entire year.
Okay. Yeah, I want to hear more about
that. What about you?
The word I picked is echo, and there's a bit of that's related to some personal stories from the Grand Canyon trip. Just being down inside of that canyon and being able to scream at a wall and hearing it echo, echo, echo forever. I also turned 40 in about a week. Less than a week. Oh my heavens. On the 13th of January, turned 40. And so there are a couple of books I've read just kind of talking about the midlife thing. And I, the example of turning 40 that I grew up with was you're over the hill now. It's all downhill from here. Black balloons at the birthday party. It's just odd, morbid thing. And I don't feel that way at all. And so there's a sense, as well about, my next, like the not half, because I don't know for certain, but in the sense that the next half, we'll just say that, of my life will be some kind of an echo of the previous 40 and what I've learned and what came before, and not looking ahead with some sort of like fatalism or sadness or anything like that, but instead like a kind of hope. So echo is something that I started kind of thinking about that word on the Grand Canyon trip. So it's kind of already bringing it into this with me, which relates back to what you were asking earlier. Like, the more you do this, do these questions come a little bit easier? And that's an example of, I've been thinking about this particular thing since September and October. Like, what will my word for 2020 be? So, so that's what that'll be. We'll see. Growth and echo. No need to, we're not going to rename the podcast to Growth and Echo. We'll keep it slow and steady. That cool?
Yeah, good idea.
Well, okay. So you just mentioned, you mentioned growth and user list, and you got to build this thing. What's the update on that? Where you're standing with consulting work and going full time on this? Like, where are you, man? It's exciting.
Yeah, like today's the first day of officially being full-time on Userlist for both Jane and I. Woo-hoo. So we had our kickoff call earlier today.
Nice. Wow. Congratulations. Yeah, what a step.
It feels amazing. Like, I feel like good. One thing that I didn't really think about before, but like now that we're doing this full-time, planning becomes so much easier. At least like estimating becomes way easier, because like now I can sit down in the beginning of the day and more or less say, okay, I'm working on this today. There will nothing else be interrupting me. Wow. No customer, like no client will be calling or something like that. Yeah. Or even like, it's pretty clear that, or it makes it way easier to also plan like for the next couple of weeks, because I know I can, when I say I'm going to build this feature, and this feature probably takes me 5 days, I can be sure, or more or less sure, that I will use like 1 week for this, and not just like a day here, a day there, and have no idea when it will actually be finished, because I can't estimate how much effective work time I get out of a week.
Yeah. There are just less unknowns, and you have more control over what gets to interrupt you and what doesn't when you're not doing client work.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And that feels exciting, because we didn't have that for, I think, the entire time of building Userlist.
Yeah, the life of the company so far, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what are you planning? What came out of your planning call?
We changed the time and day of our weekly call, so we are kicking the week off on Mondays now, and just like having Jane and me on it to basically plan the week. We didn't make a lot of plans for this week, but basically agreed upon on Monday we'll basically set a goal for the week for each of us and then work on that. This week I'm looking into email providers. Like I mentioned a couple of problems with our current setup in the last episode, and we had some more problems since then. Okay. So we're currently evaluating new options, and I'm like today I spent most of the day implementing a new provider, and then we'll probably run them in parallel for a while and maybe then switch over, or maybe evaluate a couple more. So yeah, that's the topic of my day.
All right. What sort of, are y'all implementing Shape Up, or are you running some other agile process? Like what is the process for you and Jane right now in terms of planning, roadmap, deployment?
Yeah. We're not following any formal process right now. And I think that's something we will establish over the next couple of weeks. We start simple by just setting a weekly call and then using it to plan.
Yes.
So we're kind of working in 1 week sprints, if you want to tell, like if you want to
give it some terms.
So.
Yeah.
maybe we'll eventually adapt something like ShapeUp, but let's see. Like we didn't make a plan to, I don't know, adapt the framework. I think we'll just pick and choose over time and build up from there.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I think that's it. Very unexciting, but yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see.
What's new with you?
Well, I think, let's see. And on the headlamp side of things, a little bit before Christmas, I got in. I was very delighted to get an email from Rob Walling, and he was just kind of giving me some advice to say, hey, this is something that's, worked for others that I would suggest you at least think about. Put together a list of trusted advisors, and once a month, send an email to share wins, losses, your next actions, and any asks or questions that you might have. And so followed that advice and emailed, I think, like 25 or so connections, and through this show, people that I've met through Bright and Early, new Twitter friends, and whatever. I think the list is at like 18 right now of people who said, yeah, sure, add me to the list. Won't always, respond, but if something sticks out, then definitely. So I sent an email out last week just with like what did I work on in December for Headlamp, and what obstacles and those sorts of things that I just mentioned, and got some really thoughtful emails back already from people who know what they are talking about, which was very helpful also to then feel to want to be respectful and respond to that, which helped me think through a couple of these challenges. And so that was really helpful. I think that felt like a big, this is going to be an important thing for the year, is getting that list together and having people who push back on some of my thinking. And it's like just another extension of what we do here. I think with the big loss that I shared, and the thing that I keep thinking about is, I think it was in the end a mistake that I outsourced the prototype in Node. And my thinking on that, originally was, okay, here's the smallest and simplest version of this product that I could prototype and put in front of some people. And everything I'm seeing says the fastest way to do a really like quick and dirty Slack bot is in Node. So let's just do it that way. And short term, that was true. But now that I am ready to, start jumping in, adding some features, layering a web app on top of it, like I'm proficient in Rails, and a total noob in Node. And so I'm just feeling burdened and just not like excited to get into the code base. You know what I mean? Like there's also just that the motivation part of it, or maybe that's not the right word. Anyway, so I'm definitely feeling like that was the wrong choice. And I'm just gonna scrap the whole thing and rebuild it myself now. So that's what I'll be working on here in January. I had mentioned too, in I think a previous episode, that I was planning on taking 2 weeks or something off in January, and I feel like I would want to truly commit to starting that next week. I'm taking Monday off because it's my birthday, but next week and the week after, feeling like want to commit to saying I'm taking it off to work 80 hours on Headlamp and see where I can get.
That's cool. Yeah, interesting to see that you made the choice to just rewrite it. I think that's also what I suggested, but
it is.
I wasn't quite sure if you'd actually do it.
Yeah.
Do you think like you will change anything? Like, are you basically doing a one-to-one rewrite, and or are you actually already incorporating some of the learnings from the first round?
Yeah, I'm going to incorporate a little bit of a wider, a bit wider thinking about it rather than, okay, just going to rebuild a Slack bot in Rails. No, not totally.
Yeah.
Need to think through a lot more deliberately, think through between now and then deliberately. What is like the layer of the employee onboarding, employee engagement, and employee feedback workflow that I want to layer on top of, because the feedback survey is just one piece of it, and so which of these elements do I want to pick up and incorporate here? And much of this, again, I'd just like to come back to how valuable that list of advisors already has been pulled from a couple of those conversations, and just thinking through like some combination of what should this attempt to do out of the gate. So
yeah that's cool.
Yeah. And I guess the other update I've got is that in addition to taking a couple weeks off here, took a fair amount of time off from bright and early as well, because I was reaching out to people, lining up kind of a remote work series, which will, I think be really helpful as well, to be thinking through remote work and challenges with some folks. So, going to start releasing episodes of that series, actually today, and some good interviews coming up with CEO of Buffer, Doist, Marie from FYI, Shanik from 1 Second Every Day, some really cool people doing great work. So I am feeling really, really good about the beginning of the year. feels
That's
very
awesome.
encouraging.
Yeah. Did you settle on some sort of promoting Headlamp in the process, or?
I'm still thinking about that. There's on the one hand that it makes complete sense to push it. On the other, I don't totally know is building awareness right now before there's even much of a product the right move. So I'm still thinking through that. I got some feedback that was running ads, probably not the stage that you're at right now. So think through that, and I am. And which that is true. On the other hand, it would not hurt. I would definitely not turn down, 50 or 70 something emails of people who are like, hey, yeah, when you launch this, let me know. Oh yeah, actually that's very helpful. Let's talk right now, in fact. So I think it maybe has more to do with what are my objectives for advertising. And so,
but I was mostly thinking about your own podcast series there on Bright and Early. I mean, it's not like you have to spend money to get that spot, but it seems like a perfect fit for, at least, I don't know, end each episode with, hey, totally. I'm working on this remote worker problem solution thing, whatever, sign up here to get updates.
Yes.
You should do that.
I should. That is a very simple and easy decision to make. Yeah.
I just end every episode with something like that, and maybe get 1 or 2 signups from it.
Yeah. I gosh, that. Why am I even? I think I hesitate on that because I just don't want it to come across as self-serving, and selfish. Oh, cool. Okay, but you're doing this series on remote work because you want to promote your thing, and maybe a couple people would think that, and everybody else would be like, oh, cool, okay. Anyway, so that is my hesitation there, is I just don't want that promotion to come across as self-serving.
Well, yes, I can see why you'd think that, but I think you worry way too much.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like the entire episode is about your thing. It's just like ending it with, hey, I'm also like I mean, it's kind of true. The reason why you're doing this is because you're very deeply into that topic right now.
Right.
And I think it's only fair to mention that you're also thinking about solutions to some of the problems. Mm-hmm. And it's not like people have to buy right after that. It's just more like, hey, if you agree that this is an interesting problem, maybe sign up over here. I'm thinking a lot more about this stuff, and maybe there's a solution at some point.
Yep.
So it's not like I want them to buy anything at this point.
Okay. Yeah, this is good advice, and I'm going to follow it, even if it makes me slightly uncomfortable.
Usually it's when you grow, is when you feel slightly uncomfortable and do things that are outside of your comfort zone.
Well said. Well said. Well, anything else, Benedikt? Anything else about this, like, first official day, full-time on Userlist? Like, that's a big thing. Anything else about that you want to give some time to and talk through? It's monumental.
Not really, no.
Okay. All right. I feel like, hey, speaking of earlier, like celebrating things along the way, like you should go to your favorite restaurant or buy yourself a pair of earbuds or whatever that you might want to do. That's an accomplishment. Well done, man.
Yeah, I hope we can stay that way for basically forever.
It is not the end of the story, but definitely a milestone to be celebrated. So well done.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, then I guess talk to you next week. Enjoy your birthday. Enjoy your day off and celebrate.
Thank you.
It's also a milestone, I guess.
Say what? Yes. So. Yeah, it is. It is for sure. All right. Show notes at slowandsteadypodcast.com. Follow us at slowsteadypod. And we'll talk to you next week.
See ya.